a six-pack of questions from the National Football League. And what I went first yesterday or Tuesday with the college one, right? So you're up first.
That's right.
All right. Kang,
Here
let's
we go, boys. Gator, you're up first. The Colts, they're 2-0, led by Daniel Jones. That's right, Daniel Jones. He has 588 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 111.1. Are Daniel Jones and the Colts for real?
I think they're for real when it comes to their own division. I think they can win the division. It's not a very good division. But as far as being a Super Bowl contender, no, I don't think they're for real with that. I think Daniel Jones is, he's an okay quarterback. I think he's probably below average, but he's got a couple pieces around him that help make him better and make the team better. Jonathan Taylor, that helps. Having the new tight end, Taylor Warren, that helps as well. But the offensive line is pretty good. But beyond that, they need some help. They don't have the weapons, enough receivers, I don't think. Defensively, they're okay. They're maybe even a little bit better than okay, but I just don't see them being complete enough to compete for the Super Bowl. But I do think they're good enough to win the division.
Guys, Daniel Jones and the Colts doing this, I knew it was coming all along.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Here we go.
This is an unbelievable start. The Colts are the first team in NFL history to start a season by scoring on each of their first 10 possessions. They're the first team in the Super Bowl era to not punt in their first 2 games. This is incredible. And you mentioned their division. Yeah, they're for real. They'll go to the playoffs because they'll win this division. Houston might not be very good. Tennessee is an authentic 0-2. And if you take a look at this, the seasoning and the system, Baker Mayfield, right? It took Baker Mayfield a minute, and it took Baker Mayfield the right system. And now you've got Daniel Jones. He might be the next guy that in his 2.0 is so much better than his 1.0. And there's a weird theory going around out there that, like, the 5 weeks he spent in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell last year, Kevin O'Connell fixed him. I don't know if I believe it, but that theory's out there. I think they're for real.
Doug, I don't think they're for real, but I'm always wrong, so they must be real. That's what I'm going with this one. I'm like, well, the real Daniel Jones, please stand up. Because what the stats you've read, it's amazing. I cannot believe it's true. Surprisingly, though, the last couple years, the Colts, even though with AR at quarterback or Gardner Minshew, they've been 8-9 and 9-8. So they haven't been like awful. If they just get some good quarterback play, they actually might be a real threat to the division and in the playoffs. So like I said, I don't really think it's real, but I'm always wrong, so I'm going with it is real. I'm going with Costanza theory here. They just need a good quarterback play, and Dan Jones might actually be one of those quarterbacks that's resurrecting his career, like you said, a la Baker Mayfield, a la Sam Darnold. So he could be that guy this year at least. All right, speaking of quarterbacks, Joe Burrow is projected to miss 3 months after toe surgery. This is the 3rd time in his career he's been put on IR. This has led some people to compare him to Andrew Luck, who retired early. Is Joe Burrow the next Andrew Luck?
So I watch Quarterback on Netflix, so I know him personally.
That's right.
He's a little flaky, in my opinion, and that's probably not fair. But in watching that show, I thought, okay, he's a little flaky. He might be normal to somebody else, could he walk away from the game? I feel like he could, become a fashion maven type of dude that I want to branch out and do something else in my career. But these are really personal decisions. Not everybody's a Chris Borland who walked away or Andrew Luck who walked away. Odds are he's not going to do it. But I think he's quirky enough that I could be wrong. Maybe he would.
See, I don't think guys that are flamboyant like that are ready to walk away. I think Burrow is wired to be way more competitive than Andrew Luck was. I think he wants it so badly, and I think he takes it personally that he can't play. If he retires, I don't think it would be a proactive retirement like it was for Andrew Luck, who just didn't want to put up with it anymore. And, hey, I dealt with some injuries. I don't want to anymore. I don't think that's the case. I think if Joe Burrow has to retire, it's because he's told you can't play the game anymore.
So early retirement, no. But 0 rings, yes. I think that's a big, very much in play right now. I mean, he just gets hit way too much. After 6 seasons, compared to Andrew Luck, he's been actually sacked more than Andrew Luck was their first 6 seasons in the league. It's just really hard to win, especially when you get hurt all the time. They refuse to work on the offensive line in Cincinnati. Instead, they're messing around with all these other player contracts. But protect your biggest investment, which is Joe Burrow, and he's just getting hit way too often. All right, Rams versus Eagles this week. Does the winner of this game become the favorite to win the NFC?
I think if the Eagles win, I think that they may be the favorite in the NFC. But if the Rams win, I don't think they are. I think that mantle and torch gets passed on to the Green Bay Packers. And in fact, I think the Packers technically might be the odds-on favorite right now in the NFC. I think that just happened today. But no, I don't. If the Rams win, absolutely not. If the Eagles win, they've got a chance to still be the favorite to win.
Yeah,
the NFC.
I actually agree with you 100%. Eagles might be the favorite with a win. I don't think the Rams start leapfrogging teams. And I even like I personally like Tampa more than the Rams. But as far as technical favorite, no, I don't think they'll go.
Well, they're better coached.
He's hurt right now, man. He's coaching hurt. You talking about Move, your boy?
Yeah,
he's playing hurt.
Does the winner of this game become the favorite in the NFC? Yeah, only if the Eagles win. But if the Rams win, I'll be very impressed. But it puts them in the mix with everybody else, which is the Niners, the Lions, the Packers, the Commanders, the Buccaneers. So the NFC is tough this year. But if the Rams beat the Eagles, I definitely elevate them, just not to the top of the NFC yet. All right, there are a lot of 0-2 teams right now. Who's the worst team in the NFL?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, my. I thought we weren't doing hot takes.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. People would expect me to say Miami because I have never believed in their quarterback. I think their head coach is trying to find a gear that I'm not sure he has, which is crisis management mode. Their top receivers pitching publicly. But I don't think it's them. I thought they came that close to winning that game in New England. I think they look much better. I'm not burying them just yet. It's the Carolina Panthers. Bad play in the trenches. The quarterback play people say is regressing, and there's holes at all levels on the defense. I think Carolina is the worst of the 0-2 teams.
I came down to Carolina and the team that I went with. I think Tennessee is for now. They're breaking in a new quarterback, which doesn't do them any favors, and they don't have a whole lot around him. They're really counting on the draft class they just had to step up, so I don't think this year they're going to do much. I think they're probably picking at the top of the draft again, which is good for them. They need to build the base, and they feel like they've got the quarterback. Like I said, they made some interesting draft picks on the defensive line and offensive line. They've got one of their draft picks who's a wide receiver who I think was in the 4th or 5th round. He's actually starting for them. So the draft class can help them out, but it's not going to come this season.
I'm with you, Doug. I think it's the Panthers. They don't have much over there. Bryce does not have much to work with, but also I don't think Bryce Young is the answer, which is the biggest key here. They might be picking for his replacement in April. That's how bad I think the Panthers are, unfortunately. And for your surviving, those in survivor pools, so try to save the team playing the Panthers as long as you possibly can. All right, Tua Tagovailoa, Doug's favorite quarterback, told reporters this week that he can't do half the things Josh Allen does. They're playing the Bills this week. Is this really a cool thing for him to say, or would you not want your quarterback talking like that?
You know, normally I would say there's nothing wrong with killing them with kindness, right? That's if you're confident in your own abilities. And right now, I don't think that Tua is exuding a whole lot of confidence in his abilities, nor is his team instilling that kind of confidence in Tua. And they've got a head coach that's destined to be fired in the next few weeks. It's a dumpster fire in Miami. He shouldn't have said it like that. I just say, oh, he's a great quarterback, period. And then, move on to the next question. You could be as vanilla as you want at this point, but the second you add a little bit of flavor, you put yourself in more scrutiny under the microscope, and that's exactly what's happened. Tua is that flame is fading out quickly.
There was when Tua was coming out, I have obviously said I didn't think he would be successful in the NFL, and there was a variety of reasons. One of them was his leadership style. I wasn't sure, unless he changed, that it would work in the NFL locker room. His tranquil state of mind, his serenity, and all that stuff. I just didn't know how that would play. And I think saying things like this is very healthy in the real world, and I think being tranquil in that serene state of mind, it might be very healthy in the real world. But the NFL is not the real world. It's a dog-eat-dog, brutal place. And I think him saying stuff like that kind of feeds into the weirdness that is Tua Tagovailoa from afar. This is how, and then you get into the injuries, but all that. But that has nothing to do with the question. So no, I don't think it's a cool thing for him to say.
Yeah, I don't mind giving your opponent credit and some respect, but this praise is much too much. And it makes him sound like he sucks. Right? Like when he says, I can't do any of that stuff. Like when you're 0-2, you don't want to give that vibe off to the rest of the team. And that's the vibe he's giving right now. Maybe not tell everyone, how much you can't do right now and start telling people how much you can do. Last one, the Monday night doubleheader averaged 13.5 million viewers. The NFL is doing very well with this. Do you like it, and should the NFL do more of these Monday night doubleheaders?
So I do like it because it's a standalone time spot. There's no other games going on. At 1 and 4 on Sunday, which is where this game would otherwise be parked, I probably am not seeing it anyway. Now I have the option to see it on Monday night, and so I enthusiastically started to watch that game before I fell asleep 6 minutes in. However, the option was there, and for that I appreciate. So I like the doubleheader, and I think they should do it more.
23-year-old Gator would love the doubleheader. I mean,
but now that you're 24.
Right now that I'm no longer 23. Yeah, look, back in the day, I would have been at the bar all night long watching, and you get a second game. Like, yeah, here we go. I have something else to entertain myself beyond just the first game. However, now that I'm no longer 23, it just doesn't do it for me, man. I think it waters it down. I think it takes away the specialness that is Monday Night Football. And the NFL has done a lot of that lately. You had the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game. Everything is kind of taken away the amplitude of what was Monday Night Football, and this is further neutering of it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm actually not the biggest fan either, Gator, and a couple of reasons. One, it's the late start for the second game. I mean, if it's not compelling at all, or I'm just getting too tired, it's a Monday night, I'm like Doug, I tune out then. Yeah, I turn it off, even though there was that option, Doug. But money runs everything. So week 4 has another doubleheader where the second game starts an hour after the first game. Week 6 is the same way as that one. Week 7 is another true doubleheader that includes our lines in the early window, and then there's a second game at 10 o'clock. I watch Red Zone, you guys know this, so I don't get to watch too many games, a full game from start to finish. So I want to when I can. The Lions, Sunday night, and usually Monday night. But if there's too many games going on, that waters it down for me. So, but hey, if the ratings are so good, the NFL is just continue to do this.
All right, there it is. That concludes the Wide 9 Omaha 4 Down Around the League Blitz thingy.